This is my personal micro project by Kiara Owl. The bacteria I decided to study is called Lactobacillus bulgaricus. When people normally think of bacteria, they usually think of filthy, gross, sickness, diseases, or pathogenic. But in reality, most bacteria is not harmful, but it is actually very beneficial to us. Lactobacillus bulgaricus is an example of this helpful bacteria. What is Lactobacillus bulgaricus? Lactobacillus bulgaricus is a gram-positive rod-shaped bacterium usually found in pairs or long chains that is used in the production of yogurt and the ripening of some cheese. I know it sounds scary to be consuming bacteria in everyday foods such as yogurt, but this bacteria is a good microbe, a probiotic with many beneficial effects for humans when consumed, such as the aid in the digestive tract, preventing diarrhea, and relieving symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. And here's what the bacterium looks like. You can see the color, the arrangement, and the rod shapes. In yogurt production, Lactobacillus bulgaricus works to ferment the milk sugar lactose in yogurt, causing the production of lactic acid. This lactic acid increase decreases the pH of milk, causing the milk to clot and give the yogurt the thick and creamy consistency. In fermented yogurt, microbes Lactobacillus and gram-positive Streptococcus thermophilus, a fermentive facultative anaerobe, play an important role in lactic acid fermentation. Lactose is moved into the cell where galactosidase breaks lactose down into glucose and galactose. These sugars are then broken down into lactic acid, providing the cells with energy. Lactobacillus bulgaricus produces protease. This protease breaks down milk proteins into amino acids. Then these amino acids are then given to S. thermophilus, which helps to coagulate the milk, making for a thick consistency of yogurt. Folate is then produced by S. thermophilus and is used by both bacteria for synthesizing DNA and is also a great source of vitamin. EPS is made by both L. bulgaricus and S. thermophilus, which also contributes to the creamy consistency of yogurt. Here's a diagram to show how the two bacteria work together in this process. So the lactobacillus creates this protease, which breaks down the short peptides, which are then given to streptococcus. And you could also see the lactose being broken down to lactic acid, the streptococcus giving the folic acid to lactobacillus, lactose being broken down to lactic acid on the lactobacillus side, and both making EPS. This is how the bacterium reacts in our digestive tract. In our intestines, we have pathogenic bacteria that grows and causes a lack of nutrient absorption and for food to not be digested as easily. E. coli is a pathogenic bacteria that grows in our intestines and which also causes diseases, illnesses, and even death. Lactobacillus bulgaricus inhibits these foodborne pathogenic bacteria such as E. coli, which then overly enhances our immune system and digestive tract. Lactobacillus bulgaricus also speeds up the movement in the intestine, relieving constipation. And here's a picture of a happy, healthy gut, which we can get from eating this bacteria. Lactobacillus bulgaricus for our immune systems. Lactobacillus bulgaricus contain bacterial spores, which are a non-reproductive structure. Molecules on the surfaces of these spores bind to molecules on B lymphocyte cells, and this binding activates the B cells to divide and multiply. B cells are a very important component of the immune system. These cells produce antibodies that fight harmful viruses and bacteria. Here we can see the different types of spores in bacteria and where they can be found. And in the top right corner, you could also see them in the stain. Here's a diagram to show how the antibodies are released from these B cells. So the more Lactobacillus bulgaricus you eat, the more antibodies will be produced since more B cells will be able to multiply. Some other benefits of Lactobacillus bulgaricus is it helps with calming inflammation of the skin, helping with conditions such as rosacea, acne, and eczema. This also aids in dairy digestion and decreases leaky gut symptoms. This also helps periodontal diseases, tooth decay, and other oral health problems. Since fermented yogurt aids in the breakdown of lactose, this helps individuals that are lactose intolerant to easier digest lactose. Lactose intolerance is caused by a galactosidase deficiency resulting in the inability to digest lactose into glucose and galactose, causing diarrhea and discomfort after consuming milk products. Lactobacillus bulgaricus has a high galactosidase activity, allowing for the breakdown of lactose into monosaccharides, causing better digestion for lactose-intolerant individuals. Here we can see that when lactose gets broken down into glucose and galactose, it leads to normal digestion, and this breakdown is caused by Lactobacillus bulgaricus. But if we have lactose that doesn't get broken down, it leads to diarrhea. This bacteria can also help with lead exposure. Lead exposure has a very hazardous effect towards humans and animals. There were mice that were exposed to lead but had undergone a Lactobacillus bulgaricus treatment, and the mice that undergone this treatment had reduced mortality rates, effectively increased Pb levels in the feces, and relieved pathological damage, and enhanced the antioxidant index in the liver and kidney. Studies show that Lactobacillus bulgaricus treatment can be used as a probiotic against lead toxicity in humans as well. As seen, we don't need to fear all bacteria. Bacteria is everywhere and mostly benefiting us instead of harming. Lactobacillus bulgaricus is a perfect example of good bacteria that can be very great for our bodies in many ways of fighting off pathogenic bacteria, boosting our immune system, aiding in digestion of lactose, and a probiotic against lead exposure.